Hundreds of homeless men, women, and families count on Joy Junction, Albuquerque's largest emergency homeless shelter, for shelter and a hot meal. And so pleased to say that joining us today is Jeremy Reynolds, founder and CEO of Joy Junction. Great to have you back, Jeremy.
Hey, good to be back, Nikki. How are you?
Here. I'm good, and I know I speak for myself, but there are so many other people out there who are not doing so well, and thanks to you, you're trying to help that change. But the last time you were here was in October, and you were telling us that the shelves were bare. So I'm just curious, how are supplies now? What's going on?
Well, they're getting a little bit better.
Okay.
The shelves were not just bare, they were almost scarily bare. One of my staff had said we had enough food for basically for 3 or 4 days. And he showed me, he reached out his arms one day and said, okay, this is the amount of cans that we need just to feed one meal at Joy Junction. It was a shelf so high, sure, and like this wide. But now folks are beginning to give at Christmas, and they gave, for the holiday before, at Thanksgiving also. Right. But of course that only lasts for so long.
Exactly. It goes so fast.
So now our shelves, you go in the kitchen and the shelves is like this. There's lots of cans.
Okay.
There's food and people are coming and the doorbell is ringing, and folks are coming in. But what happens, Nick, even though we have a wonderfully caring, giving community, on January the 1st, that all stops, and we have to go back to living on the supplies that the community has given to us during the past 2 or 3 months.
Sure.
So times like this are so important, because during the months of November and December, we get about 45% of our entire year's budget.
Wow, all in these 2 months?
All in these 2 months,
Oh,
because the media listens to us and asks me on shows.
Exactly.
And then folks write about us, and people's hearts are touched also.
Right.
As they're having their own times with their folks, friends, family.
Right.
So okay, they think about the homeless and the needy.
And they should be thinking about it as we move into the brand new year just as much, is really the point here. And for our viewers who may not know about Joy Junction, just talk a little bit about the many services you provide. As I mentioned, it's a wonderful thing for so many people in need.
Yes. Well, if you're homeless on the streets, in fact, coming up here this morning about an hour ago, I saw this poor old man who was wrapped in a blanket just toddling along 2nd Street. He was humped over in his blanket. He was trying to get around him. It was evidence to me he had probably spent the night outside. Now, if folks, if you called us last night and we had space, he and others, and women, families, and kids could have found a place to stay at Joy Junction.
Okay.
We would give them a warm meal and a place to stay, a bed, a shower, and so on.
That shelter, when you have these days, especially with, as Kristen said, the storm is coming. We're looking at a storm this week. We're looking at a storm this weekend. Shelter. We really take it for granted, and this is an opportunity for people who need that shelter to say, "Hey, I can have a roof over my head tonight."
And it's just not the overnight basis. A lot of people think, well, they go, well, you just you feed a few meals, you take care of a few people on a night-to-night basis. Yes and no. Yes, we do.
Okay.
And for folks that need a longer place to stay than that, maybe a husband, wife, and kids, they need a few weeks, a month or 2, we can also help them.
You can, okay.
Absolutely. Then we have a longer 9-month program, which basically takes care of some of the issues that drove people into homelessness in the first place. Excuse me.
Makes sense.
And then we have a graduation for that program after 9 months, and it's an exciting program, but it's hard. And again, it gives people a chance to build up a resume of sticking at one thing for 9 months. And when people finish at that, we have some transitional housing on site.
Okay.
And we can also, in some cases, we can employ these folks also, give them a real chance to get on their feet, reintegrated back into mainstream community life.
Yes, to get back in the real world again without that difficult transition.
Yes.
And so important, I think, for the children as well. If you're in a family that's going through this, to be able to give the children just a little stability, and from going to place and night to night, but to be able to have that extended period, it does give a child a chance to have that stability in their life for at least a little while.
Well, it does indeed. Maybe some folks don't know. At Joy Junction, out of as many as 300 people we have staying each night, we have between 60 to 80 children.
Oh my, it breaks your heart.
It's a lot of kids. And we just want to give them the best holiday time we can.
For sure.
They had some great Thanksgiving meals, and also the community has begun to rally around. And so what we'll be doing Christmas Eve, we'll be giving every family lots of gifts, and we'll get the parents wrap the gifts to give to their kids. It won't be us wrapping them, it'll be the community giving them to us. Then the families will wrap them, which is a really empowering step for the parents. They feel like even though they're homeless, we want to help them forget that homelessness for just a few minutes.
Right, just escape just for those few minutes and have the power to be able to make their children happy.
There'll be lots lots of dinner,
wonderful.
lots of turkeys, and just a whole fun time.
I love to hear that.
Yes.
And, you know, Jeremy, I'm curious, are you seeing a shift in the people that are joining, you know, as far as the trends of the people that are coming to Joy Junction now and who you serve? Is there a shift?
Yeah, we're seeing an increase and a shift.
Okay.
In fact, the day before Thanksgiving, we do a big Thanksgiving dinner at the convention center.
Okay.
We normally plan on feeding 1,500 people. This year we fed 1,973.
Wow.
And that was about a 25% increase from last year. Our Thanksgiving Day dinner at Joy Junction, we normally feed 250 to 300. We fed over 400.
Gosh.
But to directly answer what you said, yes, we're discovering people who are homeless coming to us, who maybe a few years ago would never dream they would be homeless. It's just hard to make it out there, Kristen.
Sure, it's a really, really hard time. And, you know, as we get into these winter months, I'm just curious, are you seeing the needs of the homeless increase as well?
So many more. And of course, what we find is maybe a homeless man. We take a handful of homeless men also. Maybe some folks will chance it. Maybe a family will sleep in their car.
Yeah.
Maybe a single man will sleep under a culvert, a bridge, an alley. But it's so much harder to do that in nights like last night.
Yeah.
We let some of our folks know last night to say, when I got home about 9 o'clock and it was a warm house. I could go up and have some tea or coffee, stick the heat on. Indeed, but just like the man I saw this morning, how I don't think people think that. But all around Albuquerque, nooks and crannies and alleyways and behind trash cans, there are so many people who spent that night outside.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it really does break your heart. It really does. And what you're doing, like I said, is really empowering for people to be able to have the chance to have that roof over their head, to be able to get a warm meal. And we want to basically encourage more people to help you do that more often, and to be able to do it not just through this holiday season, but as we make our way into the brand new year as well. So what are the greatest needs right now at Joy Junction?
Well, we need money, obviously,
Okay.
and folks are going, oh, we always need money. You know, we always need money, but folks, let's face it, to cook almost 16,000 meals a month and to shelter 300 people each night, it doesn't come cheap, and we are not members of the United Way, even though they're a great group, we are not members. We don't get any government funding at all. We have a yearly budget of $2.5 million a year.
Wow.
But for folks that are going, well, I can't help money. Well, we need volunteers. We need volunteer time. And folks can call us anytime. We have volunteer orientations every day.
Will you tell us how people can contact you?
Yes, you can call our orientation line at 505-463-4818, 463-4818, and ask to come on a tour each morning at 10:30. We also need sleeping bags, coats, caps, blankets, and we need hygiene items. In fact, last Sunday, one of my staff went out to a local store, and we got lots of underwear and socks. Somewhere on the streets, they call socks white goals, because picture if you get your socks wet outside, how you just go home and change them.
Exactly.
But if you can't do that, then they become nasty and crusty, and
you can get sick, and we don't want that to happen to anybody. We appreciate what you're doing, Jeremy, so much.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we do encourage you to go to KASA.com for more details. We'll always have those details for Joy Junction.
Thank you so much.